Welcome back, book buddies. Today we are going to read 5 books about the beach or seaside. Let's go. A Peppa Pig book. This book is called Peppa's Day at the Beach. Let's go. Peppa and her family are going to the beach. The sun is very hot. Before you start playing, I need to put some sun cream on you, says Mummy Pig. Okay, Mummy, shout Peppa and George. Mummy Pig puts sun cream on Peppa and George, while Daddy Pig unpacks the car. What a lot of stuff, snorts Mummy Pig. Peppa giggles. A beach bag, a sunshade, towels, buckets and spades, and a spotty ball. Let's try out the spotty ball, decides Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig kicks the ball. It bounces along the sand. Peppa and George run after the ball. Boing! When the spotty ball has finished rolling, Peppa picks it up. George, she says, I'll throw the ball and you catch it. Peppa throws the ball, but George misses it. George is too little to play catch the ball. Never mind, says Daddy Pig. Why don't we have a paddle in the sea? Peppa and George love paddling in the sea. Daddy Pig blows up Peppa's armbands. Mummy Pig blows up George's armbands. Now we can play in the water, says Peppa. Daddy Pig goes in first. Is the water cold? asks Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig splashes Mummy Pig. Come in, he laughs. It's lovely and warm. Peppa and George do lots more splashing. Then they float on Daddy Pig's tummy. Daddy, says Peppa, I love being at the beach. Daddy Pig smiles. Everyone loves being at the beach. Peppa, George, Mummy Pig is calling. She has got the buckets and spades. Peppa and George find a nice spot to play in. Daddy Pig asks Peppa, can we bury you in the sand? Peppa and George start digging. Ho ho, chuckles Daddy Pig. Steady on. There, says Peppa. Now you can't escape. Maybe I'll just have a little sleep here then, nods Daddy Pig. Let's go and make sandcastles, says Peppa. Peppa shows George how to fill a bucket up with sand and then turn it out upside down. Now lift the bucket up, says Peppa. George lifts the bucket. He's made a proper sandcastle. Hooray! When it's time to go home, Mummy Pig packs up the car. She sighs. I'm sure that we have forgotten something. George snorts and points. Daddy Pig climbs out of the sand. Daddy, laughs Peppa. We forgot Daddy. And there's Peppa and George and the spotty ball at the beach. The end. Spot goes to the beach. Spot is at the beach with Mum and Dad. What a lovely sunny day, says Mum. Spot loves building sandcastles. Don't forget your hat, says Dad. Spot and Mum meet some penguins. Hello, Spot. Do you want to come surfing? Asked the penguins. And there's the surfboards and some boats. How cool. This is fun. Look at me, Mum, shouts Spot. Spot likes surfing, but he's a bit wobbly. And splash. Oh dear, says Mum. Oops, maybe I need some more practice, says Spot. Look at that penguin, he's very good at surfing. But first, it's time for a picnic. And there's enough for everyone. Look at that penguin family, the little baby penguin. They're having watermelon and sandwiches and juice. Oh, that looks like a very yummy picnic. The end. A Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom book. This book is called Trip to the Seaside. Let's go. Princess Holly and the elf family are driving to the seaside. I could try magicking us there, says Holly. No thanks, Holly, replies Mr. Elf. This is an elf day trip, and elves don't do magic. There's Mr. Elf, Holly, Ben, and Mrs. Elf. And they're in their truck with all their beach stuff, and there's a bumblebee. At the beach, Princess Holly says, I love picnic baskets. They magic up whatever you want to eat. But this is an elf picnic, Ben reminds her. Mr. Elf opens the basket. Oh dear, we forgot to bring the picnic, he cries. Oh, the box is empty, empty, empty. Oh no. As this is an emergency, says Mr. Elf, perhaps we could use magic after all. I will try an ice cream spell, says Princess Holly. Abracadabra, ice cream. 4 delicious ice creams appear. Thank you, Holly, says Mr. Elf. Now let's make sandcastles, cries Ben. Can we build one big enough for us to go inside? Asks Princess Holly excitedly. We'll need a huge bucket to build a castle that big, replies Mr. Elf. Like that one? Asked Ben. It must have been left by big children, says Mr. Elf. Let's build a sandcastle for Holly to thank her for our lunch. The elf family love to make things, and they love to sing too. Heave ho, dig ho, dig ho, dig, 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 dig. Heave ho, over you go, over you go. I am Queen Holly, giggles Holly from the top of the sandcastle. And I'm King Ben, adds Ben Elf. Mr. and Mrs. Elf tidy everything away, and they find Princess Holly's wand lying in the sand. There it is. The tide is coming in, and soon Ben and Holly are stranded out at sea. The wind is too strong for me to fly, calls Princess Holly. Use your wand to do some magic, Mrs. Elf shouts to Holly, and she throws it to Ben. Quick as a flash, Ben catches the wand, and Holly casts a spell. Sun, sea, and sand, put Ben and me on dry land. There's a magic blom. Mrs. Elf drives everyone back to the little kingdom. The rescue was a perfect mix of fairy magic and elf skill, declares Mr. Elf. Here's to elf skill, cries Princess Holly, waving her wand. And here's to fairy magic, replies Mrs. Elf. Then she, Mr. Elf, and Ben blow their elf horns with triumph. Toot! The end. A JoJo and Gran Gran book. This book is called Go to the Beach. There's JoJo and Gran Gran. JoJo and Gran Gran go to the beach. Picture glossary. Here are some words from JoJo's visit to the beach. We have JoJo, Gran Gran, Monty, bus, beach, sandcastle, bucket, spade, shell, ice cream. It was a summer day. The sky was blue and JoJo and Gran Gran were going on a trip to the beach. JoJo was very excited. Panda, can't wait to build a sandcastle, can you, Panda? Giggled JoJo. On the bus, JoJo looked out of the window, jiggled up and down, swung her legs, and then asked, "Are we there, Gran Gran?" "Soon," Gran Gran replied. JoJo looked out of the window again. She jiggled up and down. She swung her legs. Then she asked, "How about now?" Gran Gran smiled. "We're on a bus, JoJo, not a speedy rocket." "Whee!" said JoJo, whizzing Panda through the air like a rocket. JoJo and Gran Gran looked out of the window one more time. "Ah," said Gran Gran, "we're getting close. Can you see, JoJo?" JoJo looked hard. "The beach!" she squealed in delight. JoJo and Gran Gran got off the bus and headed to the beach. Gran Gran's friend Ned and his dog Monty got off the bus too. "Nice day for the beach," said Ned. "We're going to build a sandcastle," shouted Joe. JoJo ran down the beach and cartwheeled her way towards the sea. "Whee!" she whooped as she turned cartwheel after cartwheel. JoJo found a space on the beach, and Gran Gran planted a big parasol into the sand. "Ah, this is the perfect spot, JoJo," she said. "The tide is quite far out, so there's plenty of room to build our sandcastle. Time to get to work." "Bucket?" said Gran Gran. JoJo held up her red bucket. "Bucket!" she yelled. "Spade?" said Gran Gran. JoJo held up her green spade. "Spade!" she cried. "Let's get building." They both filled their buckets with wet sand. Gran Gran turned her bucket over first. She tapped it with her spade and lifted it up. Then JoJo turned her bucket over on top of Gran Gran's, making a tower. "This can be your sandcastle, Panda," said JoJo. Suddenly there was a cry. "Look out!" JoJo looked up and there was a big beach ball heading straight for the sandcastle. And Panda! She grabbed Panda just in time. The beach ball crashed into the sandcastle. All that was left was a hole in the sand. "Oh no," said JoJo sadly. "It's okay, JoJo. We can build another sandcastle. And this one will be even bigger and better," said Gran Gran. JoJo and Gran Gran started to build a new sandcastle, even better than the first one. JoJo was too excited to notice that the waves seemed to be a little closer to them than when they arrived. Soon they were decorating the sandcastle with some shells and seaweed. "Nothing will knock this one down, Panda," she said, as she put him in the middle of the castle. Just then Monty ran over to them. "Hello, Monty. Do you like our sandcastle?" asked JoJo. "Monty!" called Ned. As Monty raced back towards Ned, he ran straight through the sandcastle, knocking it over. "Our biggest, best sandcastle ever is ruined again," said JoJo. "Sorry," shouted Ned. "Okay, Panda," said JoJo, picking up her spade again. "You will get your sandcastle. This time it will be the biggest, best, most amazing sandcastle ever." And with that, JoJo and GranGran started to build a new sandcastle. Ta-da! Cried JoJo and GranGran. The biggest, best, most amazing sandcastle ever, shouted JoJo. Do you know what builders of the biggest, best, most amazing sandcastle need to do next? Asked GranGran, laughing. Build more sandcastles, JoJo replied. Have an ice cream, said GranGran. And then we build more sandcastles? Asked JoJo. Not today, JoJo. The tide's coming in, replied GranGran. What's the tide? JoJo said. It's how the sea comes in and out. When it's low tide, the waves are much further away. But when it's high tide, the waves cover the whole beach. The whole beach? Yes. The waves will wash away any sandcastle. So when the tide goes back out again, the beach will look brand new. JoJo looked sad as she picked up Panda. Sorry, Panda, whispered JoJo as she cuddled him. The tide is coming in, so the waves will wash our sandcastle away soon. Looking at JoJo and Panda, GranGran had an idea to make things better. I think it's time for a grand plan, she said, taking her tablet out of her bag. We can take some pictures of Panda and the sandcastle, so even when the tide's washed away, we can remember what the best sandcastle ever looked like. Yay, JoJo cheered, posing Panda for his photos. Once JoJo had pictures of Panda and the sandcastle, she felt much better. Now it was definitely time for ice cream. JoJo and GranGran ate their ice creams on the beach, overlooking the beach. Can we make the tide stop coming in? Asked JoJo. No, the tide always comes in and always goes out again. We can't change that, but we can always build another sandcastle another day, said GranGran. Goodbye, sandcastle, said JoJo, as the sea gently washed it all away. Once JoJo and GranGran were back at home, they looked at all the lovely photos from the beach. Now we will always remember our fun day at the beach, said GranGran. And the biggest, best, most amazing sandcastle ever. I love you, GranGran, said JoJo as she snuggled up. Ah, I love you too, JoJo, replied GranGran. Before we go, we have to sort the sandcastles. JoJo and GranGran had lots of fun building sandcastles on the beach. But can you put these sandcastles in order from the smallest to the biggest? Use your finger to point each one in order. Let's see if I can help. Let's find the smallest. There it is. Then the medium. And then the biggest, best, most amazing sandcastle ever. And there's JoJo at the beach. The end. The beach. Bluey, Bingo, Mum and Dad are off to the beach. Beach! They set up the tent, roll around in the sand, then race to the water. Bluey and Bingo pretend the waves are trying to splash them. Here comes a big one! Mum is off for a walk along the beach. Why do you like walking by yourself? Asked Bluey. I'm not sure, says Mum. I just do. See you soon, little mermaid. What a strange answer, thinks Bluey. Not long after, she finds a beautiful shell and asks to show Mum. All right, off you go, say Dad. Wow, ooh. For real life, says Bluey, all by myself? Dad nods. Just don't go in the water. Bingo waves her hands over Bluey's mermaid tail. Bluey laughs. I'm the mermaid who's got her legs. Wow, legs. Mum is now a tiny orange speck. Bluey frowns. Maybe I'll just stay here with you and Dad. But, little mermaid, you can follow Mum's footsteps, says Bingo. Oh yeah, Bluey grins. Thanks. Bluey hops from one foot to another. She runs and skips and does cartwheels in the sand until she comes across a flock of seagulls. Can you please move? Bluey asked politely. It's a good thing mermaids aren't scared of seagulls. Ruff, ruff. Bluey laughs as she hops from one foot to another. She runs and skips and does cartwheels in the sand until a big wave sneaks up and crashes onto the shore. It takes Mum's footprints out to the sea. Oh, you cheeky wave, Bluey barks. How will I find Mum now? Just as Bluey begins to lose hope, she spots a pie coming up for wee-wees. Pinchy, pinchy. A crab scuttles past. Bluey copies its funny sideways walk. Ha! I'm a mermaid who's got her crab legs. Ah! Bluey scampers away. She runs and runs, then skids to a stop. A jellyfish. How will I get past? She picks up a stick and pokes the blue blob. It wobbles. Hello. Ha! You can't sting me, jellyfish. I am the mermaid who got her legs, but only for a day. Bluey races ahead. Looks at this amazing shell, she calls, but Mum's still too far away to hear. Better keep going. Mum! Bluey runs and skips and does cartwheels in the sand until she comes across an old sandcastle. Perhaps this is where all the other mermaids lived, she thinks, and leaves her stick as a present. Then she slowly backs away and bumps right into a pelican. Ah! Bluey begins to think she had enough of walking by herself. She looks back at Dad, but he's just a tiny blue speck. If I can't go backwards and I can't go forwards, what am I going to do? The pelican beats his great big wings and flies away. Thank you for moving, Mr. Pelican. A familiar voice floats towards Bluey. She gasps and spins round. Mum! Bluey! Bluey holds the shell to Mum's ear. It has the whole beach inside it. Bluey and Mum head back together. I love walking by myself, says Bluey. Oh yeah? Why's that? asks Mum. Bluey thinks. It's hard question. I don't know. I just do. The end. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Do come back so we can read more books together. Please like and subscribe. Bye.